The 0.63 patch will be changing a lot in the experience of playing DayZ. The new play controller alone will be a night and day difference with the legacy system. Base building, a new damage system, and much more added content should keep us busy for a while. I think it's safe to say that this will be the biggest patch for DayZ till date. The problem is though, is that we're gonna have to wait at least a couple of months before any playable experimental build. And that's being optimistic. When I played the build at Gamescom, I did notice a lot of work there was still left to do. Most of the systems were in, but felt too incomplete and unpolished for a beta build. Now, the devs put a lot of value in feedback, so that's why I'm making this video. These are my suggestions for changes and improvements for the 0.63 Gamescom build to the 0.63 experimental release. Let's start with the elephant in the room, the new stamina system. Although I believe this will change any PvP encounters for the better, limiting the length of continuous sprint does slow down player travel significantly. The devs have stated that your stamina bar will decrease dependent on the amount of weight the player was carrying on his character. When we tested the sprint length of a fresh spawn character, it took about 20 seconds for the character to run out of stamina, forcing a slower jog. Now, the Gamescom build was limited to Soroy Town, but I see traveling longer distances becoming tedious and too time consuming. It would cause a part of the player base to stay in coastal areas, completely going against the developers' efforts to spread the player base more evenly throughout the map. I prefer to see the stamina system for low gear players to be increased slightly. Helping out the fresh spawns in this way will allow them to develop their characters better and protect them against more geared players. However, another option would also be more easily accessible vehicles. There's actually quite a big chance the developers are working on introducing vehicles like bicycles and dirt bikes into the game to shorten the distances on the map to combat this stamina system. I'm more than confident that the devs will figure it out. Inertia is something the devs are aware of, and they are actively working towards finding a solution for it. Inertia basically means that you force the character to slow down its movement when turning on high running speeds. Players now just use the high running speeds to make it impossible for you to hit them. They throw their mouse left and right without any penalty to their movement speed whatsoever. Any experienced PvP player recognizes this as a problem. I do think the new stamina system will help combat this though. Turning speeds are still the same speed, but because you're actually running out of juice, you might want to prioritize covering more distance rather than evading. Next up will be the aiming system. The Gamescom build utilizes a system to remove the raising hands of weapons from toggling spacebar to now holding right mouse click. Personally, I found this to be a huge improvement, but it's not perfect. Aiming a weapon down sight required a player to hold right mouse click to then click the middle mouse button to toggle down sights. This simply felt clunky and uncomfortable, and it was just messing with my aim. I think it's very important that the new player controller should feel accessible and comfortable. Honestly, I'd say just adopt a similar system to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Right click once to toggle aim down sights, and holding would raise the weapon to shoulder level. Now, I know I'm using a game 100% focused on PvP as an example, but there's a reason not a single person of the 10 million copies sold of that game is asking for a new aiming system. It simply works, and getting used to it is almost instant. DayZ's play controller should be like that too. It would be a huge step in the right direction to finally have a smooth gameplay experience for controlling your character in DayZ. I do, however, see how this would promote killing on sight. And if we would be forced to have a bit of a clunky experience, perhaps make it to toggle it to double right mouse click. Whatever the new system will be, it needs to feel natural. Although base building wasn't a part of the Gamescom 0.63 build, placing fireplaces, floodlights and generators did give us an insight on how placement for base building in beta will be. The new Ghost model allows for accurate placement options, but still doesn't offer any options for rotation and or increasing or decreasing of height. Implementing this would allow for more accurate placement. These options are already available in Arma 3 mods like Exile, and although I don't agree with how unlimited base building is implemented in such mods, the placement of them works very well. The UI has seen a huge overhaul as well. Gone are all the indicators for food and drink levels from the menu. There's no more text in the bottom left of the screen to indicate the status of fractures, illness or bleeding. All is now represented as simple icons in the bottom right part of the screen. Having this all in one place definitely is a lot more elegant, and I think is a big improvement over the legacy systems. I find having them to be forced on your screen at all times too unnecessary though. I think being able to toggle them on and off through the tilde key would just make sense. The devs are striving for absolute immersion, so I think having the option to disable the UI icons will only benefit that. Something else that might not have been that clear in all the camera footage from the Gamescom show floor is that the infamous dot to indicate the point of attention of the player has now returned. Current indicators can be disabled by the server admin for any player on that server. I say now, just offer it as an option client-side in the settings. It offers unexperienced players a visual aid, while more experienced ones have the option to disable it if they like to. What do you think of my suggestions? I'm asking you to leave constructive feedback and suggestions in the comments below that you think will help improve the game. I'll personally make sure to remove any straight negative comments so we can have a healthy discussion in the comments section. Thank you for watching.